Hey, what's up, everybody? Stephen A. Williams, president and founder of thecreditrepairshop.com. And in today's video, we're going to talk about a debt portfolio released on the market. $33,774. $33,474,411.78 right there. Released on to the market. The principal amount. These were credit card accounts. Credit card, and it was three different ones. Citibank, Discover, I think I can't believe it, I didn't write those down, but I know Citibank was one of them, and I think Discover, and then there was another one of the companies. Average charge-off date, well, it was 2,365 accounts. Average charge-off date, look at that. Average charge-off date, 2004 to 2007. Can you believe that? 2004 to 2007. That's past the legal statute of limitations for every state except for one. There's one state that still has 2 years left. They have a 15-year statute of limitations. If you want to find out statute of limitations, you can look online, or you can go to my website, thecreditrepairshop.com. On the bottom, click the blog, type in statute. You'll see the statute of limitations for all 50 states. Now, this is very important. This is very important because I continually see, and over the weekend, I had over, I think it was probably 20 to 30 people who are being sued by debt collectors. And usually when I go through those and we review the court summons, we will find that a number of them they're coming after them and the debt is past the legal statute of limitation. It is actually wrote into the Fair Debt Collections Practices Act that a debt collector is not supposed to come after someone legally if the debt is past the legal statute of limitations. As a matter of fact, when they call you on the phone, they're supposed to tell you, it'll be a message, it'll say that this debt is time barred and that they cannot, they don't say legally, but they'll just say, you know, throw a word in there that means the same thing as we can't legally come after you, but it'll say that this is a time barred debt. They don't say statute of limitations. So listen for that word. If they say time barred, that means that they can't legally make you pay that debt. They can't even put it on your credit reports, but they'll, you know, if you say the wrong thing, you do the wrong thing, you pay them some money, you can end up resetting that debt. So let's talk about the solution first. Is when a debt collector makes contact with you, they have to do one thing first. They have to send you a letter. It's called a done-in letter. That letter has to have a few things in there. It has to identify who the original creditor was, has to identify who they are, you know, and how they got your information, and then it'll usually say that they purchased it. But it also has a state in there, which we found that some debt collectors are starting to kind of take this paragraph out, is that you have a right to dispute any or all of the debt, that you have a right to do that. Now, if you do this the right way, you can stop the whole process right from there. That's why I think it's very important for people to have the information to be able to respond. And I'll talk about getting you those documents at the end of this video. So first thing is that they have to send you that letter. They're not supposed to call you before they get that letter, but we see that they break that rule all the time. And sometimes it's hard if you don't record it, and you might live in a state that you have to notify that you're recording people. It can be very difficult for you to be able to prove that in court if you decide to sue them. But I can tell you, if you do these few things, where if they call you and you tell them to send that letter to you about what this is about, you review it. You're reviewing it, number one, for statute of limitations. You're reviewing it for number two, to say, hey, you did not send me this letter before you called me. So step number one is that you're going to notify them. So you'll notify them that they called before mailing, and so they didn't even give you the opportunity according to the way that they're supposed to do it with the Fair Debt Collection Practice Act. They're supposed to send you that information first, not call you first. Now you might be saying, well, why did they probably call because they didn't have my address? Well, they have skip tracing capability to find your address. This is just the way that a lazy debt collector did stuff. They just didn't want to do it the proper way. They just felt that, hey, instead of spending money on stamps, let's call. Now, talking about spending money on stamps, this is something else that you need to pay attention to. When they send that letter, I want you to pay attention to, and it's called a dunning letter. It won't say that on there, but that's the legal term for it. What I want you to pay attention to on that letter is to see if you can identify anything that would make you think that that letter was sent by a third party, because you did not give them permission to share your information with a third party. You could have the whole collection thrown out just solely based on that. So you have two things working for you. They called you, you have proof that they called you, even though they might try to claim that they sent you the letter, but you had them send the letter, and then you're looking to see if it's from a third party. So in your response that you're preparing, we're just taking notes right now, you could say that, hey, number one, you didn't send this letter first, you called me first, that's a violation. Number two, it looks like the way that you mailed this letter that it was done by a third party, that's another violation because you shared my private data with the unauthorized third party. Now, also something to keep in mind, they cannot send that to you on a postcard. They cannot send a postcard and try to say like, we're trying to get in touch with you pertaining to a debt or something like that. They can't send a postcard. They'll try to do that to save on postage. If you've noticed that postage rates keep going up, and the same thing for postcard rates, and some of these debt collectors are like, hey, why don't we just send a postcard, and whoever responds, then we'll send the letter. They can't do it that way, because even by having that postcard go to the Postal Service with your information on there, letting people know that you owe a debt to somebody, they cannot do that. They cannot do that. So that's another violation. So you have where they called you, you told them to send it to me in writing, they sent it to you in writing. That's already one violation, but it's going to be a gray area because they might try to say, we sent you a letter before. You received a letter, you're trying to see if that letter was, does it look like it was shared by a third party? Just look at it. All you have to do is look at it. If it looks close to you, like it had a meter thing on there, it wasn't like a stamp, you could write back to them and let them know. But right now we're taking all of our notes right now. So that would be one of the things. And then the other thing is that in that letter that they give you the right to dispute. So they're supposed to give you a right to dispute any or all of the debt. That has to be in there. They have to give you that right to do that. And like I said earlier, there are some debt collection companies that are actually sending a letter and they're forgetting, or we'll just say that they're forgetting to put that part in there. And so people don't even know that they have a right. And what I've seen with some of the clients that came to us is that they actually went straight into arbitration because they didn't have no idea that they had a right to dispute any of the debt. They just went straight into arbitration. So you want to make sure that they have that. Now, the next step, before you're sending everything, these are the steps that you need to look at, is now you need to look at who was that original creditor, and you need to grab your credit reports, and you need to look at when the charge-off date on that debt. Because the charge-off date, which is what we talk about right here, if the charge-off date is past the legal statute of limitations to collect in your state, all you have to do is notify the debt collector that they're attempting to collect the debt that is past the legal statute of limitations to collect in your state. That's all you have to do. No debt validation, no proof of contract. You don't need none of that stuff. I guarantee you, if you do this the right way, they will just go away. They'll send you a letter. Now, they might try to sell it to another debt collector who might foolishly try to come after you for it, but you'll just be able to use that letter from that other debt collector who stopped the collection, and you'll be able to sue both of them for trying to collect on a debt that you have no legal obligation to pay, but you'll have proof that they knew you didn't have any legal obligation to pay. They know it, but see, the thing is that they do have the opportunity to try to get you to collect on the debt. So that's that gray area. You might be saying, well, Steve, they know that the debt is past the legal statute of limitations. So why are they even able to just send out for it? That's just the way that the law is written. It's written that they can legally try to go, that they can go after you legally in a sense of they can try to get you to pay it. But they can't take any legal action like taking you to court. They can't try to garnish you. They can't do any of that stuff. They're just going to try to talk you into paying it. That's just the way that the law is written. And that's why a lot of people, and I continue to make this video, because a lot of people fall into this. If they got 2,000, look at this. Just think about it from the debt collector's perspective. 2,365 people. How many, if you just had 10% of the people that just didn't understand their rights, you're talking about over 200 and something people that just don't understand their rights when it comes to dealing with debt collectors, and they could end up paying on this debt. And I think that the average balance was about $2,200 on this debt, the average balance. So they sell these portfolios for pennies on the dollar. That's why the debt collection companies will take the risk, because they know that some of this group right here, some of this group, 2,365 people, do not know their rights, and they'll just get scared, emotional, and they'll end up either making a small payment to reset the debt, or they'll just go into arbitration and start making payments because they don't want to mess up their credit anymore or whatever. So I'm telling you, that's what you need to, you have to have that top of mind. That's why I always love going over this video, because this is the one this here is what gets everybody that I see with debt collectors. This is the one that gets them into trouble, because they either didn't know their rights with what's going on up here, or they didn't even know their rights with the statute of limitations. The next thing, if the debt is not past the legal statute of limitation, don't worry, I have help for you. All you have to do is you have to send them a letter making them answer certain questions about the debt. They don't even expect you to even know these things. Now, you might be saying, Steve, well, what is that letter? I'm going to give you that letter in a minute. So to end out this video, I'm about to give you the solution. So first, if a debt collector calls you, you're starting to get your notes put together to see, to tell them, hey, send me this letter. I don't know nothing about what you're talking about. Send me the letter. That is called a Dunning letter. You're going to review it to see if they shared your information, your private information, by the way that they sent the letter. Number two, you're going to have them on notice, even though it's a gray area, but you can utilize that in your letters, response letters that you send to them, that they had a violation by not sending you the letter first. They called you first. The next thing on that letter, when you're looking at it again, if it was shared with a third party, look for meter stamps. If it's a postcard, none of that. All of that stuff is a violation. You'll put that down on your notes. The next thing that they give you an opportunity inside of there, in that letter, there should be a paragraph that tells you the original creditor, who they are, how they got it, and then that gives you the opportunity to dispute any or all parts of that debt. Next thing, you're going to get your credit reports, and you're going to grab those, and you're going to see when was the charge-off date with that original creditor that they have marked on that letter. If it is past the legal statute of limitations according to your state, then you don't have to do anything. You just have to send them a letter notifying them of that, and it will go away. The next thing, if it's not past the legal statute of limitations, I'm about to tell you what you need to do. So, first, if you need to get your credit reports and scores, go to the website, the3scores.com. Get your credit reports, because you're going to need that information to be able to back up your argument with them when you create your letter. The next thing is, if it's, I want you to go to the bottom of the bottom of this video. There's a link. There's a form that you'll fill out, and it'll give you 3 different letters. Statute of limitations letter that you can use for debt that's past legal statute of limitations. The next one is a cease and desist collection activities letter that you could use if the debt is not past the legal statute of limitations to collect. that is the one that you're going to utilize. It has questions on there, and you'll be able to add to it if they had any of these violations on there. But even if you don't add to it, that letter has literally stopped people from being, debt collectors from being able to come after people. And then I give you a debt validation letter so you can have that back and forth, because some of the times they're going to try to say, hey, we have a legal right to come after you for the debt. The link is below this video. If you need help with your credit, please visit us at thecreditrepairshop.com. Watch the video, what makes us different, so you can see my 8-point validation process, my 2-phase settlement process. And if you need your credit report scores, go to the website your3scores.com. Link is below this video, and make sure you grab my 3-pack of letters: statute of limitations, cease and desist collection activities letter, and debt validation letter. Link is below here. I do ask for a donation on those to help monetize my time here to make these videos for you on this channel.